Picture a time in the 1950s when trucks didn't just look different. They looked completely unbelievable, like something dreamed up in a mad scientist's workshop. These were enormous machines with odd proportions. Futuristic cabins similar to spacecraft controls, and designs so unusual that even today they leave people questioning how they ever got approved. In reality, that decade was a golden age of experimentation in vehicle design. Following the end of World War II, engineers were finally free to push boundaries and explore daring, unconventional concepts. While some innovations proved successful, others gave rise to some of the most peculiar and surprising trucks ever built. But were these creations truly failures, or did they hide smart engineering ideas that most people overlooked? In this video, we're diving into 10 extraordinary trucks that broke all the rules. Machines that may seem strange at first, but reveal fascinating stories of innovation, power, and a time when imagination had no limits. Get ready to explore some of the most unusual, massive, and unexpected trucks of the 1950s, and be sure to watch till the end, because the final one doesn't even resemble a typical truck. It looks more like something that shouldn't be on the road at all. Thorncraft Antar. The Thorncraft Antar was developed in the United Kingdom during the 1950s as a heavy military transport truck. Its main mission was to haul tanks and massive military equipment over long distances. Under the massive hood sat a diesel inline six-cylinder engine with about 12 liters of displacement, producing roughly 250 horsepower. This six-cylinder engine was paired with a heavy-duty manual transmission with multiple gear ratios designed to handle extremely heavy loads across different types of terrain. The chassis was heavily reinforced and supported by multiple axles with suspension based on heavy-duty leaf springs, built to carry the enormous weight of armored vehicles transported on large trailers. Visually, the Antar looked like a true military giant. The long hood, huge tires, and tall cab gave the impression of a machine built exclusively for brutal work. It was mainly used by British armed forces to transport tanks and military vehicles between bases and operational zones. Drivers who worked with these trucks often said that driving a fully loaded Antar felt like controlling a locomotive on wheels because of the massive weight of the moving combination. And even though it was already an impressive machine, the next truck on the list became famous for a design that looked almost exaggerated for its time. GMC Futureliner. The GMC Futureliner appeared in the late 1940s, developed by General Motors in the United States. It wasn't designed to carry cargo at all. Instead, it was part of a project called the Parade of Progress, a traveling technology show that toured the country demonstrating what the future of science and transportation might look like. Inside this massive machine was a six-cylinder inline engine with about 5 liters of displacement, producing roughly 145 horsepower. It wasn't built for speed, but it had enough power to move the huge mobile exhibition structure. The engine worked with a 4-speed manual transmission suited for relatively calm highway travel between cities. The chassis used reinforced axles and strong leaf spring suspension, since the vehicle carried not only its large body, but also heavy exhibition equipment, stages, and demonstration technology. But what truly made the Futureliner special was its design. The driver's cabin was positioned high in the center of the front section, giving the driver a commanding view, almost like sitting in a tower on wheels. The body was tall, smooth, and painted in striking red and white colors. with styling that resembled rockets and futuristic aircraft of the era. Large side panels opened up and transformed the truck into a full presentation stage. Inside, audiences could see experimental engines, early robotics concepts, new energy ideas, and predictions about how technology might shape the future. These trucks traveled across hundreds of American cities, bringing science and innovation to millions of people during the 1950s. One restored Futureliner was sold at auction for more than $4 million, becoming one of the most valuable historic vehicles ever sold. But if that truck looked too futuristic for its time, the next one on the list was built to survive some of the harshest environments on Earth. Tatra 111. The Tatra 111 began gaining attention during the 1950s. Produced by the manufacturer Tatra in what was then Czechoslovakia, this truck was designed to withstand extremely harsh working conditions, from heavy construction sites to operations in remote regions where roads barely existed. Under the hood was a diesel I-12 engine with about 14.5 liters of displacement. This engine produced around 210 horsepower, providing enough strength to move heavy loads across difficult terrain. The 12-cylinder engine was paired with a robust, manual transmission with multiple gears, allowing the truck to maintain constant pulling power even on steep climbs or rough dirt roads. The structure of the Tatra was one of the most interesting designs of its time. It used a central tubular chassis with swinging axles and independent suspension, something quite advanced for heavy trucks of that era. This system helped the truck maintain stability and ground contact even on extremely uneven terrain. Visually, the Tatra 111 gave off a sense of absolute toughness. The simple cab, long hood, and tall stance gave the truck an almost indestructible appearance. It was widely used in mining, heavy construction, and transportation across mountainous or frozen regions. In some parts of Siberia, trucks of this model continued working for decades while facing extremely low temperatures, something that helped build its reputation as a nearly indestructible machine. If you're enjoying discovering these unusual machines that once ruled the roads, take a moment now to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next videos. And impressive as it already was, the next truck on this list was built to transport one of the heaviest machines ever created, Scammell Scarab. The Scammell Scarab first appeared in the late 1940s. Developed by the British manufacturer Scammell in the United Kingdom. It was designed for a very specific job in the post-war years, moving trailers around ports, railway yards, and cargo terminals, where maneuvering space was extremely limited. The result was a small compact truck with a design that looked more like an industrial tractor than a traditional highway truck. Under that rounded cab was a 4-cylinder inline engine with roughly 2.5 liters of displacement, producing around 90 horsepower. That might not sound like much today, but for a vehicle focused on short-distance maneuvering inside logistics hubs, it was more than enough. The 4-cylinder engine was paired with a 4-speed manual transmission with short gear ratios, perfect for delivering strong pulling power at low speeds. Exactly what was needed for hauling heavy trailers around busy cargo yards all day long. Structurally, the Scarab used a rigid axle setup with semi-elliptic, leaf spring suspension. It was a simple but extremely durable configuration that allowed the truck to handle constant work in freight yards without complicated maintenance. Visually, the Scarab was impossible to miss. Its rounded cab sat very far forward on the chassis, and the driver was positioned almost directly above the front axle. From a distance, the truck almost looked like a small mechanical insect crawling around industrial yards. That compact design also allowed for an incredibly tight turning radius, which made it perfect for maneuvering trailers between warehouse corridors and rail cars. For many years, the Scarab was a common sight in British ports and distribution centers. For workers in those places, it became an essential piece of equipment. Some drivers even joked that driving a Scarab felt like operating a giant industrial go-kart because of the extremely forward driving position. Small, strange, and incredibly practical, the Scarab opens our list, proving that sometimes the weirdest ideas can also be surprisingly effective. But if this British truck already looks unusual, the next machine on the list takes the concept of excess to a completely absurd level.